The winter fuel allowance for many people has been an unglamorous but essential benefit that means the difference between dignity and destitution during Britain's bitter months. And they're also unexpectedly, this is at the heart of a political storm now consuming both the government and, frankly, the opposition. Labour's mishandling of the policy has caused genuine dismay among its traditional support base, but what might have been a gift for the Conservative opposition has instead exposed the cynicism and strategic vacuity of Robert Jenrick, a man whose calculated aggression, devoid of policy or principle, reveals just how morally threadbare his party has become. And in the middle of it all, Reform UK is gleefully reaping the whirlwind, offering not solutions but anger in a bottle. Beginning with Labour, the decision to means test winter fuel payments was, according to Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer, about tough choices and fiscal realism. It was an effort to present Labour as economically competent, a government in waiting ready to trim what it considered unaffordable entitlements the moment it got into office, which it then did. But what it communicated was something far worse. In office, a disregard for the symbolic and material importance of universal benefits, and a bizarre willingness to antagonise a bloc of older voters who were both politically engaged and increasingly politically unmoored. And that a Labour government would claw back small payments from pensioners while signing off multi-billion-pound overseas defence leases or maintaining perks for wealthier property owners struck many as perverse and continues to do so. Even among more sympathetic commentators, the policy felt not just misjudged but mean-spirited. Then came Robert Jenrick, the shadow Home Secretary, a man clearly positioning himself for the post-Badenoch Conservative Party. Actually, he's not. He's the Shadow Justice Secretary. He appeared on Sky News armed. Well, he should be the Shadow Home Secretary, shouldn't he? I mean, can you name the Shadow? Can you name anybody in the Shadow Cabinet? No, you can't. No, you can't. Because the only person you can name in the Shadow Cabinet is Kemi Badenoch, and she's a name you'd rather not even be caught with her name on your lips. Kemi. But anyway, Robert Jenrick, he appeared on Sky News armed with what should have been a perfect line of attack, and Labour was reversing course and a retreat on a flagship cost-saving policy, a golden opportunity, and yet Jenrick managed to squander it with a performance that was not only evasive but aggressively contemptuous of the very idea of political accountability. Confronted with a simple question, what would the Conservatives do with winter fuel payments, he dodged, dissembled, and then, true to form, turned on the interviewer. What viewers saw was a man who could not admit that his party had no policy. Kemi Badenoch hasn't bothered with that. Worse, he couldn't summon the honesty to say that the Conservatives quietly supported the means testing all along. Instead, he engaged in the theatrical nastiness that has become some sort of trademark since he started ripping down posters, petulant, aggressive, and intellectually vacant. He is better than that. He is better than that. And if he can't be better than that, he should shut up, give up his seat, and surrender it to somebody who can do the job. Let's speak plainly about Jenrick's style. He's a clever boy who can speak without notes, and yet. This is not the combative precision of an experienced parliamentarian. This is the sneering entitlement of a man who believes hostility substitutes for argument. Jenrick doesn't debate, he bludgeons, he doesn't clarify, he obfuscates. He treats political journalism not as a necessary function of democracy, but as an impediment to the ambitions of a future Conservative leader. When asked to articulate a position, he hides behind vagueness. When pressed, he attacks the very premise of the question. And when cornered, he blames Labour's lack of clarity, as though his own evasion was merely a reflection in the mirror. But the damage has been done. The takeaway from that interview was not Labour's incoherence, it was the Tories' duplicity and vacuum itself. Vacuum. The Tories have no policy because Kemi Badenoch is too busy twiddling her thumbs and trying to work out what the next sentence is on the script that she's got in front of her. And into this vacuum steps Reform UK. With no experience, no detail, no credibility on public finance, but a surfeit of rage. It doesn't need to have to explain what it would do. All it needs to do is say it's got plenty to say. It just does rage. Every time Labour betrays its base or the Conservatives reveal their hollow opportunism, Reform grows stronger. This is a party that thrives on disaffection, The winter fuel debacle is not simply about payments, it's about the broader perception that both parties are treating the vulnerable as a budgetary nuisance while elite interests remain untouched. And Nigel Farage, for all his absurdities, understands the power of simplicity. Labour fiddles with spreadsheets, the Conservatives fiddle on camera. And Reform stands up and says, "We don't fiddle. We'll give it back to you." No detail, no scrutiny, just fury, dressed up as fairness. But beneath the policy rows and the media soundbites lies a deeper malaise, the death of political competence. Labour's decision was the act of a leadership convinced it must always look serious. The Conservatives, meanwhile, have forgotten how even to pretend. Jenrick is not an aberration, he's a symptom. A generation of politicians that entered public life not through apprenticeship or civil service or hard work, but through media training and network. PRing for their betters. They've not learned the dark arts of statesmanship, they've simply mastered the shallow arts of derision. They've not learned how to earn proper money in a proper job. They've just shadowed somebody else. Jenrick and his like have been on an eternal internship. The result is a parliament with too few grown-ups and far too many actors, people who believe that being filmed, losing your temper, is the same as being strong. It's not. It's not. The politics of winter fuel is not a trivial distraction, it's a prism. And through it we see the corrosion of political values, the moral timidity of Labour, the self-sabotaging arrogance of the Conservatives, and Robert Jenrick's snarling appearance on Sky News lays bare the truth. His party opposes Labour not because it believes in something different, but because it hopes to disguise the fact that it believes the same thing, only without the courage to say so. In the end, the electorate will remember who took money away, but they will also remember who refused any promise to restore it. And they will not look kindly on men like Jenrick who cannot answer basic questions without lashing out. Into this frostbitten scene, Reform UK marches because it doesn't offer anything except for bitterness. It sows bitterness in frozen soil, and what they're likely to reap is not votes, but the future of the British right, handed to them by parties who forgot what they stood for, who are trying desperately to out-reform them, who now discover that voters do not forgive being treated like fools by people who they have elected. They do not forgive the Jenricks and the Baddenocks. And I'm afraid they won't forgive the Starmers and the Rachel Reeves and the Angela Rayners for pretending to be more like Reform, just to silence Reform. You won't silence Reform because Reform has nothing to say. Haven't you got that idea yet? Reform has nothing to say. It just snarls in the corner like an angry dog. What do you do with an angry dog? You either lock it up or you take it to training. And afterwards you give it a stroke. Well, if you want to stroke Farage, go ahead, but I don't intend to at the moment.